Now in America, the president, the Senate, the House, the Supreme Court will be all Republican, the same party. And this has also happened in Poland. So let me give you some examples of what you're in for. Between 2015 and 2023, the ruling party of Poland was PiS. They won the majority and they could do with the country whatever they wanted. One of the biggest things they did was a nearly all ban on abortion. 99% of abortions are banned in Poland. Women are not allowed to take abortions. Any doctor that helps women get an abortion will go to jail if found that they were helping them. So women now have to travel outside of Poland to do these procedures, and if they were found to do that, then again they would go to jail. You are not allowed to get an abortion even if it threatens the mother's life, and there was actually a famous case of when a woman died because she had to give birth to a stillborn. There were actually massive protests in Poland to protest this law. All women went out on the streets wearing black. It was dubbed as a Black Monday, which is basically when women wore black and they refused to go to work, they refused to go to school to protest this law. But despite all this turnout, they still did it. Here is another example. Women went out on the streets in more than 147 cities across Poland, and yet the ruling party still banned abortions. The second thing they did was basically introduce LGBT-free zones because they hated gay people so much. Aside from our president saying gay people are not people, they are an ideology, this is what happened. LGBT-free zones were created and implemented by local provinces, counties, and municipalities. Over 90 municipalities declared an LGBT-free zone. Around half of the country was an LGBT-free zone. And here is the proof. This is what the map looked like. All these red places declared themselves as LGBT-free zones. In the EU, we have this thing where cities partner with other cities in other countries to be like sibling cities. And because of this, so many cities cut ties with Poland. Because of this, the European Commission blocked 150 million euro funds for LGBT-free zones and blocked a 42 billion euro payment from the COVID Recovery Fund. Of course, America is not part of the EU, therefore they will not have any repercussions if they make any laws like this, therefore they will be fearless. On top of this, newspapers gave out these lovely stickers which businesses could use to declare themselves as an LGBT-free zone. Now, what the ruling party did to achieve this was basically change the judicial system. They made it so that the court was selected by the party and the president so that there will be no blockage of any laws that they wanted to make. This meant that the judges were basically pawns in their game and they could pass any law that they wanted. After eliminating constitutional checks, the government then moved to curtail the activities of NGOs and independent media, restrict freedom of speech and assembly, and reduce the qualifications required for civil service jobs in order to fill these positions with party loyalists. There is always a lot of corruption and embezzlement going on in governments, but with this law, it meant that anyone from the party found guilty of any of this would just be set free. Because again, the judges were selected by the political party, which meant that they would never be found guilty of any of it. This was obviously huge during COVID because a lot of money they took for themselves. They got fake PPE, which actually were not even real companies, all of that stuff. The reason why they were in power for so long is because they wanted to brainwash even more people, so they took over the main TV channels. Think of it like the BBC. We have this broadcasting channel called TVP, which is TVP, and all their main news broadcasting anchors were selected by the ruling party. All day long, 24/7, there was right-wing propaganda in favor of the party and everything that you could think of negative for the other parties. They wanted to curtail the freedom of speech, so they wanted to ban the most liberal channel, which was TVN. TVN is owned by Discovery Channel, which is an American company, and they believed that this was a threat to the freedom of Poland, the independence of Poland, therefore they wanted to ban that channel. They broke the constitution so many times, they did not care, and because of this, the EU actually fined Poland 1 million euros per day. Do you know who else they hated? Yes, you guessed that right, immigrants. They were so against immigrants and protecting the Polish values that they actually tried to create a referendum to stop immigrants coming into Poland. However, the referendum failed to reach a 50% turnout, which means that the referendum wasn't valid. They, however, created a wall border similar to the border in America between America and Mexico to stop immigrants coming from Belarus into Poland and into the EU. Belarus was basically pushing immigrants through Poland into the EU, and Poland stopped this by building this wall. Some of those poor immigrants were stuck in that space between the Polish army and the Belarusian army, and they were denied humanitarian aid. No one was allowed to enter to help them, and unfortunately, a lot of them died. There was a lot more that the ruling party did over the 8 years, but these were some of the biggest controversies around the world that happened. And unless you were a Polish white man living in Poland, your life was probably hell. I know a lot of people don't care about politics, but this result is actually scary, and America actually has a lot of influence on the world and the politics of other countries. So this result is also scary for other countries. A lot of these things happen in Poland after Trump won last time. So just imagine the things that will happen after he just won now.